The BRRRR method, how to own real estate and build wealth using all other people's money. The BRRRR stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. I'm doing a video of every single step along the way. Today's video is about how to renovate properties the right way. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 5 critical documents that we use with every contractor, and I'm gonna walk you through the renovation process and the numbers that go along with it. So the first thing is understanding how to hire contractors, right? Number one is how to find them, which you can find them by asking for referrals, posting on local Facebook groups, going to Home Depot and Lowe's very early in the morning, and driving around neighborhoods and literally walking into other people's jobs and asking who's in charge. So that's how to find them. Now how to understand and vet them. A couple red flags with contractors. If they're like I need work today, right now, like I need it, I'm ready, they probably don't have much other work, which is probably a red sign, right? Typically contractors might be a few days or maybe a week of lead time for them to get to your job. Number 2 is if they're asking for a 50% deposit up front. Like, hey, the job's $50,000, I need 25 grand today to start. What do you need 25 grand for? Like, you haven't even started the job. The materials don't even cost that much. So you never want to pay huge lump sums up front. Ideally, you don't want to pay anything up front. Sometimes they do need funds to purchase the materials to start the renovations, but you want to keep the upfront money to an extreme minimum as much as possible. So those are kind of like the 2 red flags. If you see that happening, be wary and maybe run the other way. But once you find a decent contractor, what we use are called 5 critical documents with every person that we hire. So those 5 critical documents, here's what they are, then we'll break them down. 1 is the scope of work, 1 is a draw schedule, 1 is an independent contractor's agreement, 1 is a lien release, and 1 is a W-9. So let's break them down. The first one is the scope of work. So when you walk through a house like this, where it needs a lot of work, it needs drywall patching, it needs doors reinstalled, it needs flooring reinstalled. The scope of work is extremely detailed in everything that needs done. So you can go room by room, say, hey, in the kitchen, we need new cabinets, we need pools on the cabinets, we need backsplash, we need light fixtures, we need granite, we need faucets, we need literally everything, the flooring, the paint, everything you need. Say specifically what needs done, and this is the important part, put the material that you want used on it. Yes, I know that means there's a lot of research that's required on the front end. The good thing, as soon as you make 1 scope of work, you can copy and paste that to the next house and the next house and the next house. But yes, that does mean go to Lowe's or Home Depot and find the exact materials that you want used, the light fixtures, the plumbing fixtures, the cabinets that you want. So there's no confusion when you say install new cabinets and you show up and they're half the height of the cabinets that you want. There's no confusion now. It's like, hey, I asked for this needs to be in there. So extremely detailed scope of work. The next thing is a draw schedule. So if the job's going to cost $50,000, everybody needs to understand how and when that money's going to be paid out. So hey, I need, $2 grand up front to start to get materials, and then the next $10,000 draw is after demo and drywall, and then the next $10,000 draw is after painting and flooring, and then the next $10,000 draw is after trim and cabinets. So everybody understands how and when the money's going to get paid out. The third thing is the independent contractor agreement, which basically just states that they are an independent contractor. They're not a W-2 employee, and they're doing X job, the scope of work job, for X amount of dollars. So just putting everybody on the same page to understand what needs done. And then the lien release, every time you give them a check, they need to sign the lien release. Basically all this means is they're agreeing that they've been paid. Last thing you want is to pay somebody and then put a lien on the house, so when you go to sell a house, you have to pay them again. Ask me how I know. Please get lien releases signed every single payment that you make. And then the last thing is a W-9, because at the end of the year, you're gonna have to do what's called 1099, these contractors. Anybody you pay, I think, $600 or more in a year needs a 1099. What that allows you to do is take the write-off in your business, and then they have to claim the income in their business and pay their own taxes. If you don't 1099 them, you run the risk of not being able to take the write-off, meaning you pay them 50 grand to do the job, so you're negative 50,000, and if they don't claim it, if you don't 1099 them, the IRS could make you pay taxes on the $50,000 that you paid them. So make sure you get W-9s so you can 1099 them at the end of the year so you can get the write-off to reduce your tax bill. So the good news about this property, the exterior was very solid. It already had a new roof on it. It's brick, so nothing needs done with the siding. So all we had to do was a little bit of fascia and soffit and paint it and patch it, put new windows in, and put new exterior doors in. So depending on the size of the house, the painting and the patching of the exterior trim may cost $500 to $1,000. The exterior doors is about $400 to $500 each. Each window is about $400 to $450 each. And this is material and labor costs. And then once you get to the inside, obviously this place needs a lot of work. We already did a lot of drywall. So drywall depends on the house, how much drywall actually needs done. In this house, we spent a couple $1,000s. And then to paint the property is gonna cost us about another $4 to $5 grand. So to paint all the trim, trim, all the walls, all the ceilings, about $4,000 to $5,000. This is a 1,200, 1,300 square foot house. So there's some doors that we're missing and some trim that needs reinstalled. So new doors, we have to trim it. New window, we had to trim it. So there's gonna be a little bit more with that as well. So that'll be another couple $1,000s for the new trim and doors in the house. So there's a few different types of flooring that we do in houses. One is hardwood floors, one is carpet, one is LVT floors, and one is tile. Good thing about this house, I love solid hardwood floors. So we're gonna sand and refinish all the floors and then do tile in the kitchen and the bathroom because there's not hardwood in there. Tile is like $8 to $10 a square foot. Hardwood is like $2.50 to $4 a square foot, depending on where you get it from. So as you can see here in the kitchen needed a lot of work. So we ripped out all the cabinets, the countertops, the appliances. We're gonna be putting back in new ones. We're gonna do white shakers on the bottom and the top here, and actually right behind you. We're also gonna do granite countertops, and then we're gonna do the pools on the cabinets, and then black appliances. So the cabinets, depending on the size of the kitchen, can cost anywhere from like $2,000 to $5,000. And again, this is for like average homes. If you go high end, you know, you can spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on cabinets, but $2,000 to $5,000. The countertops in here will be maybe $1,500. The appliances will be about $3,000, and then the pools on the cabinets will be a couple $100s. So here in the bedrooms are usually pretty simple. It's painting on the walls, updating the flooring, and maybe a little bit of trim. But a couple things to notice here. You see this drywall, which means that in this house, unfortunately, we had a lot of drywall we had to patch up. So they've done the drywall, but they haven't came and sanded it. So that's number one. And then number two, we always change all the outlets and plugs to new white ones so they look good. And then these are ungrounded, so we'll have to get these grounded as well. So the bathroom needs done as well. The good thing about this property, it already had a nice surround, which we're planning on keeping. But typically for one bath, we budget $4,000 to $5,000, and that includes putting in new surrounds, new vanities, new toilets. And the difference in the cost typically is if we do tile on the walls or if we do plastic surrounds on the walls. But this is gonna cost us a little bit less because the shower is already done. So this is a nice full-size basement down here. This used to be full of stuff, full of trash, you know, rooms down here. So we gutted everything out of here, and then we're gonna paint the walls and the floors so it'll have a nice clean look. But I wanna show you something over here on this wall. So one of the huge things to look for is foundations. So if you have basements, it's very important to look at the foundation. So as you can see, there's a crack right here. What this means is that the wall is actually bowing into the property. So walls like this is now starting to go like that. It does that long enough, the whole wall collapses, which is not a good scenario. So what you can do, depending on how much the wall has bowed, you can put in these I-beams right here, which will stop the wall from bowing out, right? So luckily this wall wasn't too far gone. We put in 10 of these down in the basement. So now the foundation is fixed. These I-beams usually cost like $400 to $500 to get installed. So as you can see, the entire furnace is missing. So we got to replace the furnace. That costs about $3,000. And then this is the AC line that runs outside. So it does have AC, but the AC is old. So we got to replace the AC as well. It's another $3,000. So this renovation is going to cost us about $50,000 to renovate the whole thing, but it could have cost us a lot more. So when you're renovating houses, there's a few things to understand. You should never over improve the property for the neighborhood. What does that mean? It means that if you do too many things to this house and spend too much money, you won't be able to get the money back out of it. So a couple examples are like this. Everybody wants open concept into the kitchen. The kitchen's on the other side. So we could have taken this entire wall out, but what that would require is to then put in re-support beams, which costs money, move the electric, which costs money, move the HVAC, which costs money, and move the plumbing, which costs money. So it would look beautiful, have this great open concept. It would have cost us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars more, but it would not have increased the ARV because other houses in this neighborhood are selling without open concepts. So why would we spend that extra money if we don't have to? And a few other things to consider as well. Maybe you wanna I need to add a second full bathroom. Well, that's gonna cost $5,000 to $10,000 to add, but why would you add it if none of the comps have a second full bathroom? You're like, hey, I need a garage if I were to live here, so I'm gonna build a garage. That might cost you $20,000 or $25,000 to build, but there's other houses that are selling without a garage. It's not your opinion, it's not where would you live, it's not what do you want. The question that really matters is what do I need to do to get the value? Look at other sales in the neighborhood to see exactly what they did and what sold. If you want to open concept, cool, run comps. If they have open concept, open concept. If they don't open concept. If they have a garage, put a garage. If they don't put a garage. It's very simple. Don't over improve a property and waste a ton of your money. So you buy a house, you do the full renovation, you're coming to the finish line, you're excited. The hardest part is getting the job done, is the last 10%. We call it the punch out because nobody wants to put the final pieces together. The painter's saying it's the trim guy's fault. The trim guy's saying it's the flooring guy's fault. The flooring guy's fault is saying it's the cabinet guy's fault. Everybody's pointing fingers at one another. So the hardest part is the punch out. And to have a solid product that tenants want to live in and will pay top dollar to live here, it's gotta be a solid project. Meaning, you gotta go through and blue tape it. Blue tape means that you literally take a roll of blue tape and you walk through the house and you put it in places that need work. So if there's a wall that's scuffed up, put a piece of tape. If there's some paint that's on the ceiling, put a piece of tape. If there's a piece of trim that's missing, put a piece of tape. If there's a cabinet that's sideways, put a piece of tape. So blue tape means that you literally walk through every last piece of the project to make sure that it's a solid, completed project. And the important thing, if you already paid your contractors all their money, it's gonna be very hard to get them to come back to do the punch out. You never want to pay your contractors in full until the punch out is done. And you don't want to leave like $300 either because they're like, oh, well, that's going to cost me more than $300. I'm just not going to go back. You always want to have a lump sum, you know, a large amount of money, thousands of dollars, hopefully, that you can pay these people at the last punch out once they come back and complete it. Because if they have a couple grand that's on the line for them to come back and do some paint touch up, guess what? They're going to come and spend an hour or two to get that last couple $1,000s. So the punch out is extremely, extremely important for completing your project. So the BRRRR method, like I said, it's buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. We already did a buy video. This is the renovate video. And what's coming is the rent, the refinance, and the repeat. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get the rest of these videos along the way so you can understand how to buy houses using other people's money, building wealth for you and your family.